Hey, what's up, everyone? Good evening, good day to you, whatever it is.
Here?
Huh? You were good there, I think. Yes. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about it. What's the worst that can happen? Half a face.
What's the worst going to happen? Somebody watches it.
Our sponsors are gonna hate the fact that it's just me and a half of you. they're gonna pay us 1.5 times the price. I mean, not 1.5, 75% of the price.
We'll tell them there's no DEI.
No DEI today. It's a half DEI. We're kind of getting away from it, but we don't want to go cold turkey.
We don't want to shock the system like they did to the federal government. Assholes.
Just a little bit at a time. Yeah. Next week I'm doing it alone.
It'll be like a third of my face. You'll be able to hear my voice.
I'm just gonna put a picture of you on the end.
Like the flat joints. I'd be sitting.
Shit, for next week we have another black guy. Jay.
Oh, that'd be fun.
No, I mean, we're going to double down on the...
It's been a while since there's two of us.
I know. Who was it? Sean McDonald.
No, we had Rich after Sean, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had Richard. Yes.
I see him training all the time on Instagram. I wonder if he's training for something special.
I think he might be. Yeah, come a little closer here because I'm not too sure if you're...
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Well, yeah, I think you are. But anyway, we'll find out. We'll see in the comment.
I'll be the one to comment.
No, right? We'll see in the comment. Richard, I think he's looking to fight. I don't know if he's
like MMA.
No, he's still got. He had a 3-fight contract with Bare Knuckle. No,
he's doing that again.
I mean, he had 3-fight contract. He's already done 2 fights. I think he's gonna do another one.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm down with that. I didn't
thing is savage, yeah.
I didn't think he wanted to do it, and I know Pete was just like, oh.
Well, he wants to. He's down for anything. He's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I see him training a lot of boxing.
He does, yeah. Yeah, no, he's here almost every Friday training, and then in the night he comes in. But I see him here on Fridays lighting up the youth. Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's solid, yeah. And he's brave.
I mean, I would really be stoked for him to get a
nice knockout.
That would be dope, but just a solid win.
Dude, do you think about bare knuckle boxing? If it goes the distance, there's no fucking winners in this thing.
Right. It's almost like...
It's like, oh my God, it's like a bloodbath.
Yeah.
They do what, 3 rounds? No, 5 rounds, huh? 3 rounds. 3, 5, 3...
I think it's 5, isn't it?
5 3-minute rounds?
I think... Let me find out.
Big KFC rules.
Let me try to use the AI. I feel like an old man, dude, and I don't care. That's how I know it's real.
Let me try to use the internet. The www.
How many rounds are in a BKFC boxing match? The WWE. Oh, I didn't get it right.
There seems to be a misunderstanding in your question. The WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, is a professional wrestling and entertainment company, not a boxing organization.
BKFC,
Fighting Championship. BKFC
5 rounds, 2 minutes.
5 2-minute round. Okay, so you get 5 2-minute rounds. Imagine like 10 minutes of battering with bare fists and shit.
It doesn't sound fun, bro.
No, and it's like so much blood and like your hands get broken obviously and all that stuff.
It's like what you said.
And there's no winner. There's no winners in this thing.
If you get into a knife fight,
there's no winners there either.
No one's winning.
Yeah.
Everyone is cut.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
But it is exciting. I don't watch it frequently. I do watch it a little bit. I watch some of the matches because there's a lot of drama involved.
True.
There's some heavyweight guys get crazy. Yeah. They've always got some crazy matches. I can't watch it consistently.
But dude, Mike Perry got so exposed in his boxing match with what's his name? I know he was smaller.
Really, bro.
I know he was smaller, but god damn it, he
smaller.
couldn't. But he couldn't swing one punch properly. It was like really. I mean, he's got like heart for 3 fighters, but
I get it.
But he doesn't have the.
I get it, but those are two different sports. That's just like if a.
Yeah, but Mike Perry was an MMA fighter. And then, still you
and not a good one.
Well, no, exactly.
He lost a shitload.
My point.
He was good, his personality, but when he went into BKFC, That's when he that was like
but why? Because
he's super tough.
Super tough, and he has a huge heart.
Right.
Maybe not a good heart, but he has a huge heart. Right. And he doesn't give up and all that stuff.
Right.
Like he didn't give up with who did he fight? Jake Paul or whoever it was there.
Jake Paul in the Misfits boxing foolishness.
Yeah. But it was a boxing match nevertheless.
He got outboxed.
He got outboxed,
but he also got outsized. He was outmanned.
He got outmanned and outsized, but he got outboxed.
Dude, it would be like as if a freestyle wrestler, a good one, went up against a substantially bigger Greco guy and wrestled him in Greco. He's got some stand-up. He's got some no-leg stuff, but, dude, it's a totally different sport. And the other guy is bigger, and that's what he does. I think it might have exposed him for not being a good boxer, but no one thought he was a good boxer. He was a good bare-knuckle boxer because he had those other attributes.
I think you can make a comparison in the other way around. A big freestyle guy goes with a small Greco guy in Greco, because then it's becoming a skill against size, skill versus size, in the skillful fighter's style, you know?
I think there's a particular skill involved in bare knuckle.
Of course, yeah.
That you don't need to use in boxing.
Right. I mean, they got dirty boxing in bare knuckle.
Okay, I thought you were talking about dirty. Like Mike Perry has his own dirty boxing league now.
Oh no, I didn't mean that.
They've got elbows.
I don't
and
know
ground and pound.
Oh yeah? Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying that it's. I really don't know about that, but I mean, I think in BKFC you're allowed dirty boxing. Like you can grab them and fight.
Yeah.
Which in boxing you're not allowed on paper. You know, it happens
also,
all the time.
I've heard him talk about how you have to punch different and hold your hands different and relax different.
There is no gloves. You can't really, it's a very different sport. But so is MMA. You know, it's like MMA but without the gloves essentially. So you have to. Here's the difference though. In MMA you have takedowns and kicks. So the distance between the fighters is
and he
bigger.
sucked at that. Mike Perry. Yeah. He sucked. Remember when he got his nose broken real bad and he kept fighting?
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, he's tried everything though. He was in submission on the ground also, remember?
He won.
Who did he go there against?
He went against the dude that Khabib fought for Khabib's title. The real estate guy. He's on the same team as Merab, Aljamain Sterling. He's retired now. Or he hasn't fought in a long time. He's probably not going to fight anymore.
I think I know what you're talking about, but who was it though?
Super white dude. But tough.
Fuck, I can't remember. Chris Weidman is on that team, but we're not talking...
not talking about him.
Not talking about Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman should fucking retire, whatever happened.
He did. Well, he did, then he went to the GF, the Global Fight League, but that's tanked.
That shit got canceled. What happened there? You're more in...
Dude... What the main guy that's left said that happened, he said investors that he had guaranteed schedules for, like every however long we're going to give you this much money, failed to pay. Like a scheduled payment was coming up, and I think they even broke it down. It was supposed to be like $200,000. It was a big amount, whatever, but they didn't come through. So... They didn't say they're done, but the two events that were canceled were the ones in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. But I think it's pretty much done.
You think that would have been exciting?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I would have watched it, but it was stupid. Yeah. It was a bunch of old people. It was like, I don't want to see any of those fools fighting.
Also, an investment of $200,000. How badly do these people need money? Because $200,000 for this bunch of fighters is not a lot of money.
I didn't do a lot of the fine print reading because it just doesn't concern me. But apparently the payouts that they were promising these fighters was a lot.
Okay.
A lot. That's why they pretty much, whoever they wanted, they got. Even people that had CTE and shit. It was so much. I think it was like a 50-50 split.
Oh, sure.
Something crazy. But now... it's failed. You know, all the armchair quarterback analysts are like, see? And I mean, they all have a good point too. I'm not even disparaging them because I thought the same thing. I was like, dude, first of all, it's just not that interesting. I can't see how this would
generate income.
do well anyway.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
You know what?
The
Actually,
PFL is struggling.
yeah, but actually, it might generate income. It's the same principle as a movie with superstars, like the Ocean 12. You know, you get a bunch of superstars. You probably underpay every one of them a little bit, but they get a points off the back, you know, of the sales. So it's probably the same kind of idea. Okay. We get a bunch of superstars, and we bet on the fact that the crowd wants to see those fighters. It's like, you know, making an all-star game. You know, it's nobody really.
I can see that, and I think that would work for the. I'm gonna go on and take this.
Yeah, yeah. You do your thing, man. Don't worry, we're not live.
Come in the front.
We got a guest coming in.
Man, say I had something to say about that. After that payment or whatever failed and they canceled, they tried to come back and offer the fighters. They were like, "Will you stay under contract if you won't get a guaranteed payout, but depending upon how many people, we'll give you money off the back end." And everyone said, "No."
No, because you see, the thing is,
the reason why everyone went was because of the percentage.
The guaranteed money,
was
but
so high.
The back end is like not up to them. The back end is
it's
like,
up to the audience.
I'm lending you my name,
right?
But you gotta market that shit. And if you don't even have money to pay me up front, how are you gonna market that shit? Right.
100%.
So that's a bit of a problem. 100%. I wouldn't have agreed either.
No, hell no.
Yeah, we're not talking about like.
Is the blocking gonna be good?
The what?
I call it the blocking.
Of course, you're set. You're actor. Handled.
Handled already.
This is the beginning part 2.
Yeah, so this is part 2. We already did some discussions in part 1. Anyway, Vlad over here from Vladimir all the way from Croatia.
Yes.
But currently residing in the United States
Since 1990 in LA.
1990?
Yeah, a long time.
Oh,
Before some of you guys were born.
Yeah,
75.
true. Yeah, I was born in 92.
No. Really?
Yeah.
92.
In 92.
Hell no.
No, you got a kid that's too old to be that.
My kid is born 2013. I was 21 when I had him.
Really?
Yeah, look at me. Don't look into
82,
the details.
82. Hey, I think you're off by a decade, maybe.
I'll take 82.
I'll take 82 too.
You'll take 82 even more.
That's almost a decade.
Hey, you came in 1990. I didn't know. I thought you came in before. During the Civil War or
The
something.
Balkan War. Yeah, so I came to the States in '86 before the war.
The mic is right here. Yeah.
I came to I was East Coast, Jersey and DC for a few years, and then I
When? 84?
I came 86 to the States, and then I was 4 years East Coast, and then my buddy and I we were riding motorcycles. It was cold one winter, like fuck, let's get out of town. It's Florida, LA, let's go to LA. Jumped on our bikes and came here.
Wow.
19 years old. Fuck it.
Wait a second. So you came in 84.
To the 86 to the States.
86 to the States, yes.
And 1990 to LA.
Oh, 1990 to LA. Okay.
Yeah.
So I somehow I thought you came in to LA first. Yeah, I got you. Oh, so you've been here since 86. Holy shit.
40 years next year.
Wow. Damn.
I know, time flies.
Yeah, you've been living here.
You're a LA native?
No, I've been here since 05.
From?
Delaware.
Okay.
East Coast.
Delaware, and you're Bulgaria.
Oh, yeah,
Sofia?
since 04. I've been here since 04.
04.
In LA. 02 in the United States.
Okay, so a couple decades. You still
Yeah.
got the accent.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
The accent is not going anywhere. No.
I know, it's just status quo. What
So,
it is, it
so
is.
you skipped the whole the whole Civil War there?
Yeah, I went back to visit every year. My parents and family was
I
there.
don't know that you can call it a civil war because those countries were independent at the
Yeah,
time. When it's not a civil
they
war.
get mad when the Croatians get mad when it's civil war, but you know, it's politics, politicians, it's war, it's bad. Divided people that were like basically the same people, you know.
Right, but hold on a second. These are when did Croatia become independent from Yugoslavia?
Yeah, so like 1990.
1990. Bosnia.
So right after, first Slovenia, then Croatia, then Bosnia, and everybody knew Slovenia was a smooth ride.
Slovenia didn't have
No,
any.
no,
Yeah.
like the one shot fired or whatever, and then Croatia was a mess, and in Bosnia everybody knew it was a shit
Was
show.
it bad
Okay.
for the civilians?
Yeah, the term genocide got coined in the Balkan Wars, and so it was bad. It was just like and now like we're all like have to get along again. It's all good, but for what reason? For nothing.
Oh,
you know?
dude, I worked on a ship
Wow.
with a bunch of Croatians and Serbians, and it's not that they got along, but there was this one Serbian guy who, for some reason, and we're talking about 2002.
Fresh-ish.
Yeah, kind of. So who for this guy, for some reason, he was a maitre d' in the restaurant, so he was the boss of most of these guys that I'm talking about. And but there was other Bulgarians, there was like Macedonians and all that stuff, but we didn't have anything to do with those kind of politics. But they were like talking to each other, especially since they talk the same language, right? Serbians and Croatians.
And you can understand it.
I can understand
Mostly.
Serbians way more than I can understand Croatians. Is the accent. Same as Russian. I can understand Russian from certain parts of Russia, but from other parts I don't understand shit.
Wow.
You know, yeah, it's. I mean, if you don't have everyday in the beginning when I went to South Africa, I couldn't understand some of the British people that lived there who were from like Scotland and stuff like this. You know, now I understand them, but that's a different story, right? It's just my experience with the language hadn't grown at that time. Like if I start listening to Croatians every day, all the time, I'll become understanding them.
I'll tell you a funny fact. So Croatia has got like 3 regions. There's the inland by Bosnia, Serbia. That's where my family's from, and they speak very much like Serbians. It sounds like and sing.
Yeah.
Then you go to capital Zagreb. They have this Kajkavski accent, which is hard for me to understand. And then you go to southern Croatia, Dalmatia. They have this Italian influence, which is very hard for me to understand too. So it's actually the Croatians inland are closer to Bosnian and Serbian in terms of language, much more similar than the capital of Croatia or the coastal region.
Really, I didn't
Go
know
figure.
that.
I know.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Like you would think that ethnically they would have a lot closer accent to, like just like here, you know, Latin people have a slightly different accent from
Sure.
and
Spanish.
That's Spanish, yeah, that's Spanish accent when they speak English. That is.
But you know the story with the ship, the maitre d'.
Oh, the maitre d'. That guy was Serbian, right? And he was a bit of an asshole to begin with, but nothing really egregious or anything like this. But he, for some reason, decided to tell people proudly that he had participated in the army during the war against Croatia, in the Civil War, and he was proudly announcing that he had done some bad things, which can only mean one thing in this case, right? Mm-hmm. So the Croatians couldn't fucking stand him. I've heard Croatians say, if I see this guy back home, he's dead.
Dang.
Yeah.
So I have cousins, obviously, in the Croatian army, but I have some cousins who are, my dad's sister married a Serb, so they went with the father's side, and I have cousins on both sides of the war, and it's really bad. But I must say, in the Serbs' defense, that when Croats travel to Serbia, they're a lot more welcome. The Serbs are more tolerant of the Croats than when the Croats come when the Serbs come to Croatia.
Then the Serbs come to Croatia.
Yeah, they're just less
Well,
tolerant.
let's not forget who was
Aggressor.
who was holding the whip.
Who is the aggressor?
Let's
Yes.
not forget who was holding the whip all these years. You know, like it was the
The
Serbians
Serbs,
that were
the Serbs had the upper hand. Yeah, so
yeah.
I get it.
So they were the government. They were the army, the police, and all that stuff. And it's like, I mean, obviously besides local, but the federal authority was under them.
Yes, it was.
And so-
European history, Balkan Wars history here. For
Dude,
you.
we do it all.
We do
Yeah,
it all.
we do it all.
We
We
do
do
it all
all
on
that
the
kind of shit.
podcast.
But
So,
I don't think we want to be coming here to talk about get clarity on the Balkan Wars, and maybe then.
I don't know. I didn't know you've been here since before. I thought you came like most
Since you
Croatians
moved.
that I've known.
Oh. Most Christians came after the war. Most. Bosnian,
after or
Serbian,
during, yeah,
most,
whatever,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
came
Bosnian,
here
Serbians,
before.
yeah.
When I came, it was Yugoslavia, and nobody knew where it was. Nobody knew anything about it,
And you guys could go out of the country, but no
So
problem. Not
the
like
big-
us, right?
The big
exit the
misnomer
country.
was Eastern Bloc was the Iron Curtain was on the other side of Yugoslavia.
Yes.
We could come and go to, please go east, go west, whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
The only problem was getting into America was like, well, you're going to defect, So
Yeah.
that was the problem. But yeah, you guys had those restrictions.
But
that
you
we
could
didn't
go
have.
to, like,
anywhere
Germany
we
and
want to.
defect.
Anywhere we want to. We could go anywhere we want to if we could get a visa. So we had to apply for a visa. We could leave.
Oh, you could-
We could leave, but just like whoever wanted us,
Yeah, yeah.
to accept us. And I came in a political asylum.
Yeah,
I
but
came as a
that's the
tourist.
thing. They will take you
They
at
will
that
take you.
time as a political asylum
Exactly.
seeker.
They will take
yes.
you and then you can apply
Correct.
for asylum.
Correct. Yes. So as long as you can get the visa, I see what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, as long as you get a visa. Exactly.
With us, we would have to be not only refugees, but we would have to also jump the border, right? And when I say jump the border, it's not like here Mexicans jumping the border in the United States and the United States hunting Mexicans down. It's the other way around. The Mexicans would be hunting the Mexicans not to
Crazy.
jump the border,
Yeah.
right?
They don't want them to leave.
They don't want you to leave because once you leave, you're
wow.
defect, right? So that was our case, you know. And
Different story.
everybody's case there except for Yugoslavia, they had this leader, Tito.
Yeah.
This guy
He
was
was a G.
fucking.
He was a G. Smoking cigars with my favorite thing. He was smoking cigars with freaking Fidel and playing chess with him. I have a picture at my house of Tito and Nixon at the White House, like early '70s, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And Tito just came back from Havana. Had a nice Cuban cigar. He lights a cigar in the White House, and Nixon's like. The White House has a no smoking policy. Tito's like, that's a good policy, and it lights it up, and you have to see like Nixon shrinking to like a little good boy, and Tito's a G, just lights it up. He was a dictator, but he was a G.
He was a dictator, but he allowed. What happened was the idea, from what I've read, of course, the idea was that if he lets people out of the country, they're likely to either do one of two things. They'll either stay where they go and start earning money and then send money back into the country.
Absolutely.
Which is like
Boost the economy.
Boost the economy, or they're just gonna come back with money, after a year or two. Which and that's exactly what was happening.
Yes.
I don't know how.
Right.
how
That's exactly what
yeah,
happened. It boosted
that's
the
exactly
economy,
what was happening.
and also the troublemakers, quote unquote, left.
We
the
had,
angry young men.
Yeah. We had no
the rebels.
fucking. We had shortages in the stores in Yugoslavia. They had everything. We would.
Yeah.
I remember my grandma had friends that would cross the border, and even though we're both like socialist countries, right? We could cross the border freely. They would go to
So you could come to Yugoslavia.
to Serbia, yeah,
Oh,
to
wow,
Yugoslavia.
Serbia. No
Well,
shit.
we're like 100 kilometers away from the border.
I didn't know
even
this. So
less.
you could cross into Yugoslavia, but not pass. You could leave
Correct.
into Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
But not past, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no, we couldn't go past. And
Interesting.
here is the thing: nobody would let us pass because you don't have the visa, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but we could get into Yugoslavia, and then
Buy groceries.
Well, yeah, buy groceries. But then there was this thing where there were certain things that it's not about the groceries. We had the groceries. It's not that. It's like clothes, like Western clothes and shit like this,
Yeah,
like
we had
fashion.
some.
Yeah, you had true.
In order for us to get Levi's, we had to go to Italy.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
they don't
Oh,
have
okay,
Levi's
yeah.
in the 80s
Well,
when I
we
lived
had
there.
even less than that shit.
Yeah.
So we would have to go through the border. I know my grandma had her very good friends. They were smuggling shit from there.
Oh, yeah, it was a
so
big
they
thing.
would go and they would search them. So they would bribe at the border just to get fucking dresses and shit like this in. But why? Because they would get a box of dresses and sell them in Bulgaria, So that was like, so they were taking a
hustle.
chance. They were taking a chance going through the border and then smuggling the clothes and then selling them. Because if they catch you selling that shit, it's like catching you selling drugs here.
Oh wow.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We had to go to Trieste, Italy, to get like Levi's and stuff, but we had shortages too. Coffee, sugar, butter. We had some weird outages too, like gasoline. Sometimes we had shortages as well. Power outages, rolling power outages, like 4 hours in the afternoon every other day.
We did we had that in the 90s.
In the 80s,
The
we had it,
outages.
late 80s.
In the 80s, we didn't have. In the 90s, we had outages. We had 4 hours 4 hours on, 2 hours off, or something like this.
Crazy, huh? And then we had the cars.
But for a little while, not
For a little while. No, it
planned?
wasn't
Like you'd
constant.
know about it?
Yeah, they would say,
No,
wait,
you had the
it's called a
schedule.
reduction. We have an energy reduction right now, so from X hours, and then we had a gasoline reduction too, which meant if your car ended with an odd number, you can drive on odd number days. If even number, so you could drive every
Oh, I
other day.
didn't.
So you had
We
the
didn't-
carpool.
didn't
We had
have
that too.
Maybe
Gasoline
we
outage.
did. I just didn't know about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gasoline
maybe we
outage
did.
was crazy.
Yeah.
You don't think about
I
that.
remember one time in our that I remember we had gasoline outages. There was lines, but I don't remember what the thing was there. I just remember there was lines to get.
We had rations too.
Rations,
Right?
yeah.
They would give you like a coupon that allows you to buy gasoline.
Yeah.
So
we
per
did that
household
too.
you get X, right?
Yeah.
And then
What
and
were
then
the prices like?
the prices were not reasonable, not crazy.
They were not.
Not
The prices
crazy.
were not
just-
expensive or crazy. There was no like. It's not a. It's
Like
not
price-
a.
they weren't
It's not a
price
market
gouging?
economy. It's not a capitalist market economy. It's a fucking socialist economy where everything is predetermined price. The market does not drive the price. Ever since I remember during the 80s, the bread was 40 cents. a loaf of bread, 40 cents throughout the whole my whole childhood memory. I know because
kilo
I
of
was
bread. White bread.
no, it wasn't a kilo. It
small.
was a loaf. Yeah, I mean maybe it was a kilo. I don't know how much it was, like in terms of weight, but it was 40 cents, and then there was 30 cents for another type of bread. There were two types of bread basically, right? And it wasn't sliced bread. You had to cut it and all that stuff. But it's okay. It was fresh, right? You go and you buy it from the bakery fresh. There wasn't shortage, except if you go at the end of the day, you're not gonna find any. So everybody was going in the morning, right?
And there could be a line.
It could be a line in the morning. You make a line, but there was. The problem is, so the prices were not the problem. The problem is the availability. For example, if there is no, if they run out of jackets or something like winter jackets, because there was only so many that they put out in the market. If they run
Communist,
out of,
not capitalist.
Yeah, that's
It's not
crazy.
capitalist. There is no, the demand doesn't drive the manufacturing. It's, hey, we got 7 million people living in this country. Of those 7 million, we're gonna make
X jackets, whatever.
3 million adult male jackets, of two different sizes, for example, and that's it.
that sucks.
And so, and so, what do people do? They're like, oh shit, I better buy two, one for me and one for my cousin. But then your cousin already bought one, so now you have one extra. Meanwhile, there is no more jackets, so you're like, you can't put an ad in the paper. I have a jacket because you're gonna get arrested for black marketing. Right, so you're gonna find some neighbor or somebody. Hey, I got something, that
All
kind
hustles.
of bullshit, man.
All
It
bullshit
wasn't even
hustles.
it wasn't even like to drive the
Contraband.
prices up. Yeah, it was just like
Here's jackets.
stupid shit, like
Yeah.
this. But it was all about shortage. They call it a
We call it a
plan.
reduction.
Reduction. I don't know what
A
it's.
reduction
Yeah.
in energy, reduction.
Yeah, like savings and shit like this.
It's not like that anymore.
Oh,
no.
It's
no.
way
Right
Western,
now
isn't
it's
it?
not. It's like
It's like a hybrid
it's
of
been
East
a
and West.
capitalist economy since the
For better or
1990
worse.
for us. Yeah.
We had no homeless people, and everybody had healthcare. So in some ways, and everybody had a job. No homeless people at all, right? Homeless
True.
people?
No, I've
crazy.
never seen a homeless
Never.
person.
Never.
Everyone had a job, and everyone had a healthcare, and education was free, university education, and all that.
Wow.
I mean, in Bulgaria, still everybody has healthcare. Still everybody has free university. I think it's free, but you have to qualify.
Yeah.
You have to
Get
pass
good
the
grades.
exams, the enrolling exams, right? Because you can't just, I want to go to university. You have to enter the
fight for
university.
it.
Yeah. But it's free unless you want to go to a private university where you have to pay. But that's normal, right? Or private school.
And now there's homeless people and stuff. Yeah.
There is some.
Not
Yeah.
crazy, huh?
There is some. No.
Not
It's
like
not.
nothing
No.
like that.
No, dude. If you go there now, after being here, it's like, where's the homeless people?
know.
I went to Boston last summer.
Well, you go to Huntington Beach or you go to Hermosa Beach, where's the homeless people too?
Yeah, I mean, but I went to Boston last summer, and there was like, I saw one homeless person, and I'm like, holy shit, there's a homeless person here, because you don't see them, right?
It's
And
kind of tough to be
he was kind
homeless
of
in Boston
sleeping.
though, because it gets so cold.
He was kind of sleeping in the bench, but then I went to the Boston Commons, which is like a big park in the middle of the city, there, and I went there, and there were a whole bunch of them, but guess what? They were not like drinking and bumming around. They were like kind of like hippies, They were like playing guitars and fucking music and shit like this.
Fun.
Yeah, and it was what I found very interesting is that there were a bunch of black guys and a bunch of white guys, and they were all like together, and they were all like not arguing, but they were all like talking shit and smoking little doobies and stuff like this. But like you could tell they're homeless because they had like their little luggages next to them. But it wasn't like encampment, not like here. It was very different type of homelessness.
We've taken it to a whole another level.
Yeah, this is different story.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's sad. And it's
different
getting
stuff.
worse, and where are the billions going?
I mean, it's going somewhere.
Somewhere.
Someone's
not to
pocket.
everybody, somebody's pocket,
It's
right?
going somewhere.
Yeah.
You do chiropractic or chiropractoring? What is
yeah, I have a chiropractic background. I do chiropractic manipulation, crack, see in 2 weeks. It's not really my main thing. I reset the muscles at the base of the skull. I don't know if I gave you a sample once.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Did it ever work on you?
I think you did. No, I don't think. I know
So,
you did it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the whole crack scene 2 weeks. It has its place, but it doesn't excite me, And what excited me in Switzerland, there's a guy Rene Schimperle. He found this method that has immediate long-term changes, and that was really exciting. So what they discovered is at the base of the skull. I should have brought my model. We have a newly discovered sensory organ,
What is it?
and it's in the back of our head.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a small muscle about the size of my thumb. It's deep at the underneath the trapezoid. So this bumps that we feel on the back of our heads is the origin of a trapezoid muscle, right? So it's underneath there. And what they taught me in school, what they still teach in school today, is that the brain and spinal cord swim in cerebrospinal fluid, but attachments to muscles and bones, just the nerves going on. Well, it turns out that's wrong. The brain stem is anchored to this muscle and the occiput and the first vertebra called the atlas by this newly discovered ligament called the myodural bridge, goes from myo to the dura. And I started studying that small muscle, and I found there's more nerve endings per cubic centimeter there than anywhere in our body. So not just as a sensory organ, but it's the most sensitive part of our body.
Yeah.
And so it's an input organ. It's not like skeletal muscle move, you know?
Yeah.
Which little input and pain and stuff.
Wait, so when you say input organ, it means because it's a nerve, it has nerves in it, right? You mean it manipulates the brain in terms of input how?
So that's a great question. Thank you for asking, clarify, because I talk a lot and it's, you know. So it's typically we have two highways in our spine. One goes down, and that's the order the brain gives. The motor nerves, locomotion, move, right? And so like our muscles have a lot of input, a lot of output, but less input. Yes, you have sensors here and stuff, but it's mostly output. And then on the back of the spine, we have another highway going up to the brain, and that's input. That's the sensory stuff, right? Pain and things like that.
Correct.
And our organs, the eyes, ears, their input. Yes, you can feel with your nose too, but it's really like getting information to the brain. So it's to the brain, not out. And so this muscle is more of a to the brain than from the brain. Skeletal muscles are typically, moved in the muscles called rectus capitis posterior minor. What would you guess that the Latin word for this? Rectus capitis posterior minor. So it's meant to erect the head. Posterior, there's an anterior, minor, there's a major next to it. So they named it as a function to move the head, but it turned out there's much better muscles around that move the head. Yes, it aids with the movement of the occiput, but it's more of a sensory input.
Yeah.
And so what that means is that begs the question: what does a sensory organ sense?
I was going to say, what is it? That was my question. What does it sense?
What does
that
it sense?
inputs
What
to
is
the
it?
brain?
What is input to the brain? And so and they're guessing most likely what it's for is proprioception and nociception. So that means proprioception is your spatial awareness and balance, i.e. posture, right? But poor posture is not, it predates modern lifestyle. So it people were hunchback and poor posture before that, but the media and the technique makes it worse. But so posture, also having nociception has to do with pain. So either local pain when you move your head or generalized pain, something like fibromyalgia or even like lower back pain comes from the neck. So all I do is I have this little device. I sure brought it. It's a little, handheld vibrating massage tool, and I go in there and I tap that muscle. It's really simple. You activate it, you fatigue it, and exhaust with a high frequency vibration, and it just kind of relaxes and resets, and then it works again. And when that works again, your posture improves, your mobility improves, and your pain is reduced.
And that's long term?
It's long term. It's immediate and long term. So it's not days and weeks. It's more like months, maybe even years.
Okay.
So
do they feel it immediately?
Oh, immediately. Yes, it's
And you need a machine.
It's best done with the machine. Like you can take a screw and screw it into the wall with a screwdriver, but a drill is easier. So you can do it with your hands, but really there's a specialized tool for that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do it right now. Sure. Is there?
You want to do it on me?
On you, whoever. So to experience it.
Okay.
If you want to. I don't know if there's a
But you
time and
don't have
place
the
for it.
machine though.
I have the machine in the car, and I can do it with my hands. I have a tool in my car.
Do it with your hands rather.
My hands, cool. So first, just stand against that wall and check your posture. So just, we don't look at your posture. I don't know if you can turn the camera on. Bring your heels.
Right now my neck is a little...
Perfect. It's perfect. So standing at the door. So heels back. That's right. Heels back, shoulders back, and head back. Head back. How's it feel to stand up really straight? Lubo. We say Lubo. We say Lubo in my country. There's Lubo.
Lubo, yeah.
No J. Cool. So it feels normal.
What do you mean J?
No, in Croatian the Lubo is LJ. Lubo.
No, it's LU.
LU. Cool. So Lubo. So how's it feel to stand up straight?
Normal.
Normal.
I mean,
It takes a little bit of effort maybe to...
Yeah, because it's not natural.
It's quite not natural. So where is the effort, would you say, when you slightly exaggerate the good posture?
I think the fact that since I don't have any ailments, I think the fact that my head naturally wants to
Go forward,
lean
right.
forward.
So it takes some effort to bring your head back. Now turn your head, rotate your head all the way to the left.
That is a problem.
And all the way to the right.
That is a really big problem.
Even bigger problem. Now step away from the door and look all the way down. How's it feel? Not bad.
Normal, yeah.
Look up at the ceiling. A little tight.
It's a little tight, but it's
Tight.
normal. It's
Normal.
not
Got
bad.
it. So
Not
have a
that
seat.
bad, yeah.
So what we determine, and this is the best test, is to determine how does that muscle work, how does that proprioceptive muscle work, is turn your head left and right. For example, if you're trying to figure out if this joint right here is something's off, you can look at it, you can touch it, it hurts to touch, you can move it, it doesn't quite move all the way, and that indicates there's a problem in this joint. So the same joint that moves the head left and right doesn't quite work right. So that is the good indicator, it's a really good metric, right? And so all I'm going to do now is sit up nice and straight.
Let's do it right here for the camera. If you can.
I can't turn it. Look at it.
You need to. Okay, you need to use your.
I got it. You ready? This moving a chair and grinding? No, it's raw.
And you know how to finish the podcast if I'm not.
I treated over 10,000 people, including my children and my parents.
What is the percentage of success on this? No, I'm kidding.
Our fatality rate is less than 10%, less than 5%.
Oh, that makes me.
So yeah, it's a low chance. It's less than 10%.
Is it
Right,
gonna
so
crack?
No, so the cracking, it forces a movement into the neck, which has a slight chance of injury. I'm not a huge fan of it, especially with the elderly. But there's no cracking.
Thanks.
Yeah, with the elderly. I'm saying in general. Yeah, I'm not talking about
Not this elderly.
Not this elderly. So see, this is a trapezoid muscle right here.
Right.
So it's underneath the trapezoid, and it's right there. See that? That's it right there. What did I tell you? It's the most sensitive part of our body, right? It's more
I mean,
nerve
it does.
there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna press it.
You did already.
No, I'm doing it.
Ah.
Chin down a little bit. So I'm going to press 3 or 4 more times. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
That was like me during my prostate exam.
Fine, okay. Which exam?
Prostate.
Prostate exam.
You
I was
think?
like, going,
Okay, now turn your head all the way to the left. Look at that. How's that feel now?
It does feel different.
It feels different. How does your jaw feel?
I mean,
Maybe
I don't know. I
more
was
relaxed.
chewing gum, so
Got
I
it.
can't really tell.
How's your
to be
breathing?
honest.
Fine. Stand against the door now. Like maybe at 30% of the experience, just with my hands.
Same
Yeah,
thing
same
as
thing.
later.
How's back, shoulder back? How's it feel now?
There's less
Effort.
effort to do that.
And the rotation?
The rotation is less effortless too.
Yeah. So you see how yeah, there's more range, right?
Yeah.
And step away, look down and up. Up at the ceiling. How's that movement feel?
It feels.
Feels better. So I gave you about 30% of it. Same? Stand against the wall? Yeah. Same?
I'm kind of scared of the pain.
Oh, come on.
No, it's fine. It's
Hey,
fine.
you know what? You just tap if it hurts too much. Right? That's what we do, right?
Don't worry about the pain. You'll be fine.
It's just physical pain. Hey, Ian, it's just physical pain.
You know how you prostate the thing?
Yeah. How's it feel to stand up straight? Stand up really straight.
It's awkward.
Awkward a little bit, right? Where's the awkwardness?
I feel like I'm sticking my chest out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's super awkward.
Okay, have a seat. I'm sitting in here, the pole position. All right. So, oh man.
Man, I'm gonna edit that me bitching like a little.
Yeah, turn left. Oh, so see that restriction there?
Man, you got
Yeah.
even more restriction than me.
Even more.
Yeah.
Look up.
Oh.
I hold a lot of tension in my neck.
You know, so that's a logical conclusion. I hold attention in my neck. You know what I tell those people? I hold my attention right here. It doesn't work like that.
This dude is
no,
cut.
right.
Yes, God, yeah.
I got you, Ian.
I'm scared.
Hey, if you can't
No, don't
handle
worry
it,
about it.
if you can't handle it, just tap. I never had any. I never had a color belt tap.
Where are the keys to your Mercedes?
In my pocket.
Oh, can you take him out, please? I don't want to.
I never had a. What belt is he?
I just paid it off.
I never had a brown belt tap before. You be the first one.
You're the first.
You be the first one to tap.
Yeah, that's weird.
Chin down, chin down, chin
That's
down.
weird. Oh, that's
Get in there, get in there, get in there, and you got this.
I think I'm starting to sweat.
3 more times. 3 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Hey,
and
with me, you
last
did
one.
5 Mississippis.
Oh shit. Okay, now wait. Turn your head, relax, we're done. Turn your head left all the way. Turn right all the way. It's better.
Yeah, it's way better.
It's way better. How do you feel? How do you feel in your shoulders and
I mean,
neck?
like
There's no wrong answer.
a massage just happened.
Okay,
I
so
feel
stand
like
against the door now.
way less tension.
Less tension. So you had like a 10-second massage, and you feel like you got maybe a longer massage, right?
Because it was so intense, it felt like longer than a 10-minute
Okay.
massage.
How does it feel to stand up straight now?
Not as much weirdness. I feel like my chest sticking my chest out. But
Oh, you're sticking it because you're trying to pin your shoulders to the door,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that's,
so how does it feel though when you
it
stand up
feels,
straight?
it feels considerably.
Turn your head, man.
It's like
Left and right.
remarkably better.
So standing upright feels remarkably easier.
Yeah.
So we can say that the muscle that regulates posture is working now,
okay.
right? I have to.
So
If
should I
I'm,
walk around like this?
well, it's more natural to walk around like this now, no, isn't it? It's a little bit more natural.
You know what you can do
I
also
wear a
is,
vest too all day, which kind of sucks.
Well, all that contributes to it,
Yeah,
but
I
the
feel
worst
like
thing is
I'm
doing
going-
this. The worst thing is doing this. Just be mindful of it. Head over, ears over the shoulders. Stick your nose up a little bit. I have to, if I may brag a little bit. On Saturday, I had 2 athletes come to my house. So I was talking to this coach.
The
He's
Olympians?
The Olympians, yeah. They're going to come by. They're Olympians. They're going to Olympics. And they're at an Olympic training facility or program, what I call it, in Switzerland, And I was talking to their coach last Monday, a week ago today, and I told him the world of it, and we had this exchange, and he's like, well, I'll be in May. In May, I'll come to LA, and we'll talk. And after a conversation, 1-hour Zoom call, and he was there with his doctor, he just got on the phone and booked a flight. They came Saturday. He brought 2 athletes, young man from Georgia, Atlanta, Devin Dixon. He runs a sub 4-minute mile. He's an 800 meter, looking really good, for the Olympics. And another man, a 100 meter turtle. And they had hip pain, back pain, leg length discrepancies. Gait was off a little bit. And after this reset, everything just kind of fell into place. And one was removing a lift in his shoe to kind of compensate for the leg length discrepancy. And it's a quick fix in terms of posture, mobility, and stability. And
The leg length discrepancy, was that?
so what happens is when the neck is tight, the head falls forward, and chiropractors used to say this more in the 90s, and so they said, well, if your foundation's crooked, the whole house is crooked, meaning if your pelvis is crooked, the whole structure is crooked. But we're not
Right.
leaning towers of Pisa, we're torque structure. So what happens is when there's a pillar carrying a weight, it's something called eccentric weight distribution. The head goes forward. Any weight, if you have a pillar with eccentric weight distribution, it causes torsion structure. So shoulders rotates and tilts, little scoliosis, pelvis rotates
yeah,
and tilts.
you're compensating from one thing for another.
Right.
yeah.
And so then pelvis rotates and tilts, creates a functional leg length discrepancy. The right leg tends to be a little shorter, 5 millimeters typically, and that leg becomes weight bearing because it's not just floating.
Yeah.
And then the ankle, knees, and hip are impacted, especially if you push yourself. And so that is reduced. And that's like in sports, for example. How it's
But
impacted.
you've corrected that.
I corrected it immediately. So just doing this, the leg length discrepancy reduced, eliminate immediately. The insole, the 5 millimeter lift was unnecessary. His gait was improved, and it looks like his times were improved.
That was my next
We've
question.
been going to the track, and I've been going to the practices and watching them with the coach and dialing them in, and it's looking really good. So hopefully, 28 Olympics, LA.
That would be sick.
We'll see. But it was exciting to work with the highest level of athletes and see
Yeah.
how they are. Because most of my patients are, people over 50 and with neck pain, back pain, and restriction. So it's nice to work with
No,
young
so we don't
athletes.
qualify yet.
Not yet.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
I might.
You do.
Let me ask you this, since you're a professional. 100 years ago, when I was super young and strong, I was a blue belt. I remember the day I got Kimura'd, right? And I felt and heard like pop, pop, pop. And the dude heard it too. He immediately stopped. Whatever. I went to the doctor. It was like, I had a tournament in a couple of weeks. He was like, don't do anything for a month. I was like, I can't do that. I went to another doctor. He was like, just let it rest. That was 100 years ago. Now, I've kind of learned how to live with the problem, but mainly it's like
Well, how is it now? Is it any better now?
Okay.
Just right now, this moment, after the.
okay, it kind of I don't
Is it
really
same, better, or worse?
it's the same-ish.
Ish. Okay, so
But I don't, it's hard for me to measure because I don't really stretch it like I just did. Now, I just want to give this one little quick thing that I did one time. I was at a job and they had one of those things that, like, it's like a little gun and you push it, it's got a ball in the end and it's like, does
oh
this.
yes, yeah, like a Terragun, hypervolt.
Right. Well, I was just playing around with it and I turned it on and I just put it right where I felt, because that day at work I had remarkable like pain in that area and I just kept it on it. And it was like magic. As soon as I had it on for a while, I let it go. Dude, I was like,
So where did you put it, on the trap muscle or
I
on
put
the
it
joint?
right where it hurts.
Right.
I found like the closest point of pain that I could always find. You know, it's like, it's back there. And I put it there and kind of moved it around. And it was like, what I think it was, I'm not a doctor. What I think it was, what it felt like is it relaxed some stuff and then blood flowed because there was like, I got pain now. I can put it up and some days are better than others. Like this one's
Well, let's
fine.
take a look. Let's take a look. So what you said, it's nice and straight. What you said is probably mostly true. You know, with a good shoulder too. Ah, there we go. Nicely.
This guy has strong hands.
I know.
Holy shit.
I know.
I'm a manual labor.
Blue collar.
And it for like the whole next day after I did that, I could tell it felt
Stand
better.
up for a second. Stand up. Come here.
And I didn't know if there was something I needed to
Come here.
tell my doctor.
Stay here. Breathe in. Breathe out and back. No, one time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Oh man, I can't not quite. Sit again. Try to release this a little bit more. Let me get my tool. I want to open up the shoulder. I want to get my
Go get the tool.
Cool.
Fucking, can you imagine if he fixes your shoulder now? Like,
Dude.
are you gonna go volunteer for another prostate exam if he fixes
Oh,
your shoulder?
Hell no. That would be funny if you're like, look, if you fix it, you're gonna do this. I'd be like, I'll do it.
You're like, you know what? I'd rather live with that
That
shoulder.
would be such, dude. That shoulder thing is something I think about every single day for years. Because it's always like, I run up, I always get right to the edge of it. I'm like, oh.
Well, you know, I had a.
That's why it was so miraculous when I put that thing on it. I was just like, oh my
It must have
goodness.
been a nerve or something that's actually pinched or something like this because it.
Well, when I had the pinched nerve, like we were talking about, it comes every couple of years. And when that happens, it's bad to the point where I like this.
Yeah.
I can remember like the last 3 times I've had the bad pinched nerve. And the last one, I was getting numb.
Here's the little tool.
It looks like a toothbrush.
Oh,
Nice and straight.
that's just like that thing.
That thing. It can be used as that thing too.
I know, Ian.
I'm gonna get in there.
Oh, Jesus, that's what she said.
Ha!
Oh, is this the first one?
Yeah. Does that hurt as much as it hurts with the hands?
Differently. Hurts differently, huh?
It's different.
You have lots more room for improvement, Ian. Your restriction is really bad. You had less than 50-degree range of motion, left to right, which is pretty bad. Which then you turn your eyes first and you turn your shoulders.
How do you fix that?
Well, I'm fixing it right now. I'm fixing it right now. And what happens is frozen shoulder most of the time comes from the neck. So when somebody can't turn their head, and that's mostly, and they have a frozen shoulder, it probably comes from the neck. 80% of the times comes from the neck, frozen shoulder, and shoulder problems. Now, there could be local problems from the Kimura, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I always thought it was from.
But it's like also...
You mean like labrum torn and shit like that?
Yeah, but how long ago was that blue belt? That was 100 years ago. So
Dude, this was in the
100
90s.
So 100 years ago is a long time to heal. So whatever happened, they probably healed. So that was
I think
residuals
it
from the neck.
healed wrong.
No, so what happens? The tendons don't heal wrong per se. It's not like a broken bone that can not reset. Then the problem is from the neck. So the shoulder healed, but the neck didn't heal. Get your chin down. You didn't know you're gonna get this on a podcast. 3 or 4 times. 1, 2, 3.
It's just so hard to. It's like getting a tattoo, but like when muscles getting a tattoo.
Turn left.
I mean, it feels a lot better.
Just imagine it could have been prostate exam. Imagine this guy give you a fucking prostate exam with those strong hands.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I think you're better off doing what you're doing right now.
I would delegate that if I would get that to the intern.
Take him for dinner
Take
first.
intern, take an
Take him out for dinner first.
Yeah, all right. How's the shoulder feel now? Raise it. Just feel same, huh?
It doesn't. Yeah.
It's the same. Okay. Well, we tried. It was worth a try. It didn't open up really. No noticeable difference. Try to posture against the wall. Just I'm curious. Try to stand upright. Yeah, just sometimes it's like 80-20. Sometimes it unlocks, sometimes it doesn't. How's it feel to stand up straight now?
Better.
Better than after the first time, huh?
Yeah.
You put your arm on?
Oh,
No.
fuck.
Yeah.
I feel it right.
Ay. Okay, so there's something got damaged in the shoulder. It's local then. But it's worth exploring.
Is that something that I go to the?
You got to go to shoulder expert and see what they see. Get some imaging done.
Oh,
you know,
that much?
I mean,
Yeah.
shit.
Fucking, yeah.
You know, if it doesn't work
MRI
for
probably.
since the 90s, you got MRI, you got to see, and it's
That sounds
fixable.
expensive.
Yeah, you should have insurance for that.
I mean,
know.
I do, but
Yeah, it's
He's got insurance. His MRIs are more expensive than mine, for which I pay cash.
dang.
dude,
Yeah.
well, I told you
With the
about
copay,
that.
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
copay. I know it's a scam.
I figured
it's
out I've
racket.
got a really weird what do you call it? A healthcare plan
Yeah.
to where I have to pay a certain amount,
Yeah.
and then the deep discounts.
Got it,
Oh, I
got
see
it.
what you mean. Yeah.
And I paid that for so many years because I didn't go to the doctor
Yeah.
until I started going like last year. And like the MRI was crazy. I was like, "What are you talking about? What am I paying all this money a month for if my MRI costs
Costs
this
more
much?"
than
Yeah.
your cash payment.
I'm
Huh?
like, "This is crazy."
MRI, by the way, is therapeutic. The magnetic resonance that comes is therapeutic for you. So they're not. People think they're scared. I'm like, this is therapy. It's expensive therapy, actually.
Yeah.
Magnetic resonance therapy. So
I didn't know it's
Yeah. 30
therapeutic.
minutes.
it's
But
therapeutic. Yeah, you can get just the magnets without the imaging, and it costs $100 a session probably.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So something to think about when you go into the tunnel. Anyway, we have a little time left. 10 minutes or so. What time is it?
Yeah.
I got a question.
Please.
We talked about it the last time I saw you in here. I was creeping on Instagram and saw this guy. He had a picture. Dude, he's
What picture are you talking about? Maybe you can find it again. Show the audio. I don't know. Put it on the thing. Maybe.
Dude, the guy was super duper cut up. Like it was ridiculous.
I want to meet this guy.
And I was like, how can I use this knowledge to work for me?
Is this now or was it like?
This was now.
In the
It
90s.
was 100 years ago when I was a blue belt.
You could tell it wasn't.
It was. He saw the gray and bold.
Yeah.
So it's in there somewhere. One of those.
That's one.
This is so. You're talking about this post here. So yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
that's with Marco.
yeah.
Fucking Marco is cut. Look at
Marco's
that.
ripped.
Yeah, but
So
he's,
do you
a,
wanna show
he's
the
a
camera?
kid.
Yeah.
He's a
So-
kid, but how old is he? He's 16.
Yeah. So.
Dude, he's got super testosterone going on. What impresses me is the 55-year-old next to him that
Yeah.
looks the
That's
true.
same.
That's
Yes.
That's
so thank
crazy.
you.
And what kind of quick tips?
Yeah, right. I think so. We're all men, over, and are over 40, I guess. I'm in the healing arts. I'm into biohacking. That's really interests me. I'm trying to keep up with Marco, my son, and so it's simple. I deep dove into this. I don't want to get on any kind of testosterone replacement. I don't want my own natural testosterone production to slow down. Plus, it's expensive, and it's not part of the budget. So I looked into it. Natural testosterone boost, heavy lifting, squats and deadlift. I try to put on 3-4 plates. I move them on each side. So deadlifts, squats, sprints. They're saying not running but sprinting. It's just that explosive power that boosts our natural testosterone. So sprints, 100-yard sprints, 50-yard dash. Cold plunges, I try to do 3 minutes, I don't know, once or twice a week. I was more regular about it. So the cold plunges. I think the reset helps with overall, but not specifically testosterone, with biomechanics. some, I don't take supplements, but like sea moss and some supplements, aid with that. And then lastly, tobacco. Tobacco, they're saying boosts testosterone about 15%. So after 50, I started consuming tobacco, and I was all my life anti-smoker. You disrespecting your temple, your body.
What are you taking, like Zins or something?
I don't like to take Zins.
Because I dipped for too many years.
Right.
I'm not trying to go to back
Oh, no,
to
I hear you. Well, it's a slippery slope, and it's
Yeah.
extremely habit-forming. As we know, tobacco is extremely addictive. Nicotine is. So,
nicotine,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't like the Zins. I call it Zins, like if you're going to eat, like let's say one vitamin C, you take a vitamin C, or you take an orange. It's better to have the orange, There's more known and unknown benefits to eating the whole fruit. So I like the whole plant. I like to smoke it. I like snuff tobacco sometimes even. But I smoke. I started smoking, and
the
obviously
snuff in your nose.
the snuff. I like the snuff. They're called hape in South America. So I spent some time in South America with the shamans, and I don't think it's the most sacred, most powerful medicine that tobacco is. They're saying as we light the tobacco and the smoke rises, it connects us to our paternal ancestors also smoked, and kind of as if they're looking down on us and saying, make us proud of this world you left behind us, and kind of gives us their strength and power. That's what they believe. And so when I light up, I think of my ancestors that went through shit and just said, fuck it, let's
That's
do it.
very
Light up a
cool.
smoke and let's go on that ship. Let's go into that battle, whatever side they're
Yeah.
on, So I really enjoy tobacco. Cigars, I roll my own. I love smoking, and that's the last.
You roll your own cigars?
I roll into tobacco, just
tobacco, yeah. Cigarette, yeah.
But cigars would be nice too. So those are the testosterone booster, and then I eat clean. I do intermittent fasting. Both you look super fit, but intermittent fasting is no secret. Listen to Andrew Huberman; he talks about even the benefits of nicotine on his podcast. A huge fan of intermittent fasting. My girlfriend was on, she grew up Muslim, so she did Ramadan, for March, and let's go all on March. So no eating and drinking during daylight hours is great, hard but great.
Rips you up?
Yeah, that helped a little bit, and but just fasting. And then I listen again, on my feed, it's all biohacking shows up, that's all I look at. And I listened to this woman talk about the benefits of fasting. The first day of fasting is saying you reset, your gut. The second day, you said or the third day, your natural gut stem cell starts production. Natural stem cell production. That's $10,000, and the gut stem cells are the most viable for the whole body to go anywhere, right? And then the last day, if you do 100 hours, 4 days basically, is the your serotonin, dopamine kind of resets.
So 4-day fasting means
water, no calories. So you can have a coffee technically or green tea, but no milk or sugar. So also I looked at what breaks a fast. So they're saying up to, you can consume in a day up to 50 calories. So tea might have 5 calories. This might have 7 calories. So you can have a little something to kind of.
How long will you do that again?
I did it for 4 days.
Just like
beginning of
liquid
this month.
stuff?
Just liquid, no calories, just
Water.
liquid, just water.
No calories. No
And it's
juice.
hard, and some days
It's gonna be tough.
was hard.
It'd be hard for me to work.
You can't do juice.
Well, no, so you can't do juice because
And
no calories.
I couldn't train either.
Well, no, actually, I did normal. I came here, I sparred, I trained, everything's normal. So some days.
On the third
you-
day,
you-
how did you feel?
So the second day I felt amazing. Third day I felt a little bit lower energy, and fourth day was a little bit harder. But the first couple of days was fine, and even during the intermittent fasting, which is Ramadan is intermittent fasting, I've had days where I felt amazing. I felt better than ever. And I'm like, if I eat now, I will feel slightly less good than I felt before then. And also, this might be relevant to you guys. I roll here, and then something I get sweaty. And sometimes I come home, I see some ringworm, I see and I'm like, spray it, manage it, but it comes back, It was, and I remember after a week or 10 days of the intermittent fasting, not even full fast, gone, hasn't come back since.
Wow.
And I was managing, and with the sprays and I used some oregano oil and peppermints, and it was managed, but it didn't go away. It would just subdue it, and so my ringworm went away completely after about 10 days of the intermittent fasting. Just no eating or drinking during daytime hours.
You're like the legit to me. When I look at that dude Brian Johnson, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
ACDC's.
No, Brian Johnson is the biohacker that does a.
He's kind of no judgment.
So let's judge.
To our
Let's
zero
judge. Fuck it.
audience. He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
He looks crazy.
Yeah.
And his skin is all smooth. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it just.
Yeah.
Even if it is legit, which I don't think it is, or healthy or whatever, I don't want to look like that.
Yeah. Right. So Brian Johnson.
I don't even know how old he is.
Yeah, so he's in his
I
late
want
40s.
to look like you.
Right. So Brian Johnson is late 40s. He's a I
He
think
looks
he's a
normal
co-founder.
for a late 40 guy. Really, he just
Right.
has smoother skin,
Yeah.
kind of. It's
So
not
yeah, he looks.
crazy.
Yeah, he's got full hair. So he's in his late 40s. I think he's a co-founder of Venmo or something.
what?
He's a Venmo. He's a billionaire, local here in Venice.
Oh,
and,
Venmo?
Yeah, and he spent about $2 million a year on trying to don't die, like live
Like
forever.
live
right?
forever, which
yeah.
is
so $2 million
okay.
a year.
automatically weird to me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I had two friends that went to his
Okay, I know
Don't
what
Die
you're talking about.
conference in New York last month, right? So two friends, one guy, I said, "What'd you get from it?" He's like, you know. And the other friend said, basically what he got is like, if you don't get your proper sleep, all this biohacking is useless.
Right. I mean,
So
well, they've
good
been
sleep.
telling us that since I was young.
I mean,
Our grandfathers would laugh.
And lift, you know.
Our grandfathers
repeat.
would laugh. Get out. Huberman says, first thing in the morning, get exposed to sunlight. Go outside. You know, get some movement, right? Eat your veggies. I mean, all this stuff our grandparents would laugh at.
Yeah.
Like, that's a biohack. That's your hack. Get a good night's sleep,
Yeah.
eat your veggies, and get some movement and get sunlight.
Like,
the
get
fuck
outta
out of
here.
here, you know?
Get outta
Come the
here.
fuck-
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that was, that's, the Byron Johnson.
Heard he's like takes estrogen.
Oh,
like
he's
this
crazy.
weird
Yeah, it's
stuff.
weird. He
And I'm
looks
like,
weird.
dude,
And it's all narcissism, too. It's not
it's
like...
is.
all
It is.
narcissism.
I-
I want to live forever. Like, what are you talking about?
I was telling my friend, you know, he's like, "Oh, you got a six pack." I'm like, if I was doing this for a six pack, I'd be sitting on the couch. I'm not that committed to six pack.
Yeah.
I want to be healthy. I want to be fit. I want to keep up, you know. And the byproduct of that is, yeah, you look like you train because you
Yeah.
do, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, true story.
You're a hero, and
Oh,
you've
thank
set
you, Ian.
you've set a good goal.
What is the goal? What I said? What'd you get from this?
I'm I'm trying to catch up,
I got you.
and I mean I've even started my little regimen.
What's your
and,
regiment?
Well, I try to run every day. I go to jiu-jitsu whenever there's class.
So more training, more running. I found consistency is best. And I listened to Andrew Huberman. Oh no, Jocko Williams, right? The Marine
Jocko
guy, right?
Willink, yeah.
So Willink, thank you, Williams. Willink. So he goes, "What's your morning routine?" And fucking get up early, do this exercise, do all those things, right? And he goes, "When do you take a day off?" He goes, "Like I don't. Life takes a day off for me. When I gotta go somewhere, I gotta travel, that take off. But it's a consistency, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So you have one thing is exercise, right? But then you gotta look at your your food, eating clean. And when I fast, and I'm vegetarian personally, but I'm not one of those, you can eat clean or not clean on either diet, you know, carnivore or vegetarian. But what I found is that when I break the fast, I get my nutrients first. So usually it's fresh fruits, vegetables, cold pressed juices, whatever. Get my nutrients, and then eat whatever I want. I'll have a pizza and a beer, because my body has nutrients. Now, if you're just eating junk food after fast, your body's trying to extract maximum nutrients out of that low value,
True.
low nutritious food,
Yeah.
and it's not good. But this way, you get all nutrients, you just eliminate it. You know, that's the
And
beauty of
it's
intermittent
not
fasting.
just that. If you're breaking a fast, I know because I do intermittent fasting too. I just don't do big like gaps in
Real
between.
quick, the difference between fasting and intermittent
Intermittent.
fasting.
Well, so,
Inter-
well,
Because I think I know what fasting is.
Well,
If I'm
so fasting
fasting
is
for a
just not
day,
eating.
that means I'm not
Right.
eating anything.
Right.
for
So
the day.
fasting, you want to break breakfast. You want to break the fast as
Right.
late as possible. So let's say you ate dinner at 8 o'clock, and then you wake up in the morning. You don't want to eat till noon, till 1, till 2 o'clock. And you really pinch, really got boom. Then you break the fast. You had a 17, 18 hour window of fasting, and then you eat. Then you start, and then you end it sharp, like at
Okay,
7, 8 o'clock.
got it.
No more calories till the next day. So you're trying to get like 20 hours maybe in a day, or 21 hours of not eating, and then eating a hour window or whatever you want. You eat whatever you want, pizza and ice cream.
Okay.
But you want to get nutrients because obviously you're going
But
to
what you said is makes sense because what I do is what I noticed is I'll break my fast, let's say at 2 p.m. But I also the reason I don't do a big gap in between is I'll eat at like maybe 11 p.m. because I eat after work, right? So that's why I decided not to eat anything early in the morning, and I train in the morning. So with me, it's like I really have those calories from the night before, and I train, and I can train hard as long as I have a good night's sleep. That's to me, that's the most important thing. Not the food the night before or the morning, not at all, but a good night's sleep. But then what happened is I noticed if I break my fast at let's say 2 p.m. or whatever, or even 3 p.m. If I break it with something like pizza, you know, because you're hungry by then, especially after training. If it happens with something that's bad nutrients, I notice that I get bloated real fast. If I break it with, like you said, maybe some berries, some fruit, something small, something that is definitely not going to satisfy my hunger, definitely. But I'll eat that.
You feel better?
I'll stop, right? And then I'll eat my lunch. Kind of eat it almost like
Yeah,
a snack,
totally.
almost like a snack to break the fast, and then eat lunch. I notice that my lunch becomes a lot more controlled. I don't need all the the junk. I can eat a half a sandwich and I'm good.
Okay.
You know.
I
Whereas
got it.
before I would have to eat like, if I don't do that little snack to break the fast,
Right.
I'll eat the whole sandwich or maybe even sandwich and a half or something
Right.
like, you know, like you said.
Nice, that's good. So you break that fast with some healthy stuff, and your body's
Like a little snack,
satisfied
even nuts,
nutrients.
like
So your
cashews
body's
or
like, I got
something.
some nutrients, they're not going crazy. But to address your energy level, if energy came from food, obese people would have the most energy. There's not that straight correlation. Yes, ATP production turns into
Adenine triphosphates.
adenine triphosphate, very good. But like,
That's the only thing I remember
Right.
from
So,
high
so
school
but also
biology.
like, if you're feeling lethargic and lazy and just no energy, you go fucking do a lap around the block, suddenly you're energized.
Yeah.
You hit the mat, you start rolling, suddenly energized. Where did that come from? Did you eat? No, because movement, the energy production starts. Your body's energy production starts with activity. So when you go to activity, your energy production starts, and there's fuel in your body, plenty.
And it boosts the metabolism too.
Yeah, so it's all good. You can try training on an empty stomach, and yeah, maybe some days might be low energy, some days you feel great, but
I gotta tell you, man, it's never ever in those years that I've been doing that no breakfast thing. I've never been, even if I have I'm off the night before. I don't have to work. My dinner is not after 8 o'clock usually. 8:30 max.
But
Latest.
I still working.
I still do the same thing. You know, it still doesn't matter to me. In the morning, I'm still full of energy as long as I have a good night's sleep. And when I say good night's sleep, to me, 6.5 hours, 7 max is good night's sleep. You know, anything after
max,
that,
really, after that,
yeah,
yeah.
my body starts getting stiff.
Really?
After, yeah.
How about you? How's your sleep?
I get more sleep than probably what I need.
You do?
One
Well, it's all right.
one thing, if I'm not on my consistent schedule of moving, if I get into a lazy thing, I don't want to get up, and I feel just lethargic. But it's hard for me to get up. Like I'm just like 5 minutes,
for
5
me
minutes,
too.
5 minutes.
No matter how much I sleep.
But if I ran today, I trained yesterday. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna wake up fine
yeah.
and be easy. So it's kind of like I've got to keep running for my life to be. And what I mean,
Well, how much
running
do you
is
run?
I'm off and on, but I just started an on thing. I'm
So like a mile or two, or how much do you try to get in? Or time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
I try to run for length. Today I ran 2.5 miles.
Nice.
But again, I'm just starting back.
So something I'm learning right now from these coaches that train these, top athletes is you want to get better at running, you really want to sprint. So sprint 100 yards, and then I don't know if I'm giving secrets away from this coaching, but it's probably not the secret. So he says sprint 100 yards or 200 yards or 250 maybe, but really 100 yards, and then take a 3 or 4 minute break by walking, and then sprint again. That'll increase your overall performance and explosiveness and speed, rather than just running. And for me, I hate like.
Is this age relevant though?
It probably is. It applies to our age too, especially again with the testosterone production at sprinting. So you want to sprint and you want to go full throttle or 80-90% and just sprint 100 yards and then walk. So try that. Try incorporating sprints and walking.
Yeah,
You
I'm
cover the same
actually
distance.
gonna try that because I hate running.
Me too.
Monotonously.
Me too.
I hate running. I
deal-
hate that
me too.
shit.
I
Me
deal with
too.
it, but it's not fun.
Well, try the sprinting, see how it feels, And also, I invite both of you. I live in Westchester, not too far. On Sunday afternoons, usually, not this Sunday, I'm out of town, but on Sunday, I have some friends over. We lift, I have some tobacco maybe. Sometimes I have an ice bath there, may go for a run. So you're both invited to just,
The
hang.
next Sunday I have off, I'm gonna hit you up.
For sure.
I work
For
Sundays.
sure.
I work
But what
Sundays.
time?
I work in the afternoon.
Afternoon?
Afternoon all the way till
I'll do it in the
night.
morning sometime. Either way, it's just a fun, some guys, many train the members from Uprise came, to the Sunday backyard workout. You saw the pictures and videos.
Yeah, it's
That's so
very
cool,
cool. I'm
man.
gonna look into that.
That's so cool. What is this device called? Is this on market?
It's called the
or-
Atlas BioVib. Yeah, I sell it for like a couple $100. You can do it
It's your
yourself.
thing, or?
Yeah, my father invented it, and thanks for asking.
Really?
Yeah, I learned this in Switzerland. There's a giant suitcase with cables and dials, and then we over the years simplified it. And my father's like, you know what? Everybody should have one in the house, so they don't have to go find a practitioner and pay. So you can just hold your head, and you can You can do this what I did yourself.
Can I do that for
Yeah,
you?
for sure. I'll guide your hand. So support your head on the. Take your hat off, maybe. So support your head, forehead, and sit up nice and straight. And then you want to start in this nuchal line here. They call it right in the middle. So right in the middle.
Okay.
Right below the skull. So you want to press in deep, and then press slightly towards the left eye. You're gonna press right where it hurts. Okay, press in. You're never gonna press harder than I do. So
Yes.
you're not gonna overdo it.
I want.
And then you want to go on the outside of that origin of the trapezoid, right there.
Right here,
Come
yeah.
on, just give me a sec. So right there.
Yeah.
And then just go dig in deep. You want to go straight in towards the left eye, and then press and release a little bit, and then press again. You do that a few times. A few times. And then it's best to do the other hand, other side. So hold it like an ice pick, like a tool. And then hold it and get in the middle right here. Sit up nice and straight. This is horizontal. And just dig in there. And then press towards the left eye.
Towards the left?
Oh, right eye.
The right.
Yeah, right eye, right there. Left and right eye. Right there, press where you are. And then go on the outside again. And press, dig in deep and relax. Dig in deep, relax. And last one, press in nice and good. How's it feel now? It should feel better. Turn left and right. How's it feel?
Instant relief.
Instant relief.
Dude, I'm telling you,
Given
my
how much
shoulder,
pain I was in when you were doing it.
my shoulder feels the same, but my neck feels amazing.
Yeah, you know what's us jiu-jitsu guys. I like to say us jiu-jitsu guys. We don't really mean you to. Love the sport, and I was coach also street with coach. I told him that like the rear naked choke, and we talked about this too. Compression vertebral arteries. There's a lot more to it. Nobody can really explain properly what happens in a choke out or knockout. They don't really know what happens, and the explanation is what do you explain when you. Why does a rear naked choke work? Why does somebody tap, or why does somebody faint?
They say it's the carotid arteries, but there is besides the carotid arteries, there's I read that there is another.
There's a vertebral artery underneath that.
Correct.
But
And-
yeah.
Yeah.
So the common explanation is you take the carotid arteries and you compress them, and that reduces the blood flow to the brain, right?
Correct.
However, if you remember Anatomy 101, like I do, I was like, wait a minute, the carotid artery is a secondary blood supply to the brain, and they bifurcate, they split right here, half goes to your face, so really a quarter goes to your brain. The main blood supply, the vertebrae, there's inside these vertebrae, basically, and these they're called foramens or holes,
Right.
they have these vertebral arteries going through, there's the aortic arch, and then goes right through.
Right.
And so you can't compress those, and that's the main blood supply. So if your primary blood supply is solid, the vertebral arteries, compressing the carotid artery is not going to do that much that fast. Now, if your blood supply is compromised, and you know that by having a tight neck, meaning it's not really working right, then adding the secondary blood supply, taking that away, will cause a choke out. And I was in those chokes. I remember Axel put me in a triangle, 15 seconds. Pete put me in a rear naked chokes, 15 seconds. And I wasn't fainting. So it correlates to the neck health correlates to these strokes. And in closing about that, then the neck crank, they do the neck crank. And I remember like I was rolling with somebody and they're like, coach, he's not tapping. Well, I'll keep going. I'm like, I do this for work. This feels good, Crack, 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 crack. I'm like, I'm very comfortable. I know exactly what's going on. I'm not tapping.
Uncrankable neck.
Yeah. So I have some fun with the jiu-jitsu guys, but it correlates interesting.
But the main blood supply comes from what you said.
The vertebral artery.
So you can't cut off the supply from them.
Well,
the compression doesn't work on them.
The compression, because this is inside bones.
Okay.
But the fascinating part, I wish I brought my model, is that the vertebral arteries, they're so important that they're inside bones. No arteries are inside bones,
course.
right? So they're inside bones, and the problem with that is always pros and cons. The con is it's dependent on the neck vertebrae being stacked properly. And if the neck is not stacked properly, and you can tell this by just not being able to move your head properly, fully, then it's compromised. And then you add to that, then you get the backup supply, so to speak, and you compromise that too, and then you're like.
But you
5 seconds.
you can literally strangle yourself unconscious. You can strangle yourself unconscious without, and which. You said it. You said when you're going with the machine. When I'm going with the machine, I'm definitely not going to go as hard as you do, right? Because I feel the pain and I know my receptors tell me stop, right? So it's the same thing. You can actually start very light here. The fact that my voice changes is means that I'm squeezing lightly, right? You can start very lightly. You can squeeze yourself a little more. Definitely not going to squeeze myself the way somebody else would squeeze me, right? Definitely not. But I can definitely strangle myself out given enough time. If you know.
So given enough time, you'll faint, and then I don't know if you remember Michael Hutchins, or David Carradine.
Oh, yeah.
They all
Right.
died by auto strangulation.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm saying
Michael Hutchins.
with pressure over time on the
It
side
will
of
do
the
it
neck,
too. It will do it too.
it'll do it too.
Yes,
That's what I mean.
It will. It will. Just
so-
more time. It's not going to happen in 5 seconds.
and that's
probably.
because there is
baroreceptors.
the carotid arteries do supply oxygen to the brain, do supply
Yes,
blood and oxygen
as
to the brain
as a backup, as a
as a
secondary,
secondary
yeah.
supply. However, that's why you need more time, right? And you're saying that you need very little time because of if your neck is compromised, because the primary blood supply is inside the vertebrae, and if they're
Correct.
compromised, then I see what you mean.
Correct.
So okay, so if your neck is fucked up, you're more likely to go to sleep. However, that doesn't mean that if your neck is healthy 100%, you're not going to go to sleep given time.
No, it doesn't mean that at all.
So you can rely on the carotid arteries, in other words.
No, the rear naked choke works, but not the 5 to 7 seconds. That was arguing. Like
Oh,
7, 8
okay,
seconds.
okay, yeah.
But given enough time, 15, 20 seconds, and me being super cocky, I was like, "Pfft, I'm not gonna, and I'm not gonna tap. And then one time I woke up. One time I woke up and I was like,
Who did you?
It was at the Planet Jiu Jitsu over.
There is another factor to
There's another couple more factors. I want to hear yours first.
size of arms relative to your
For
neck. If your neck is very skinny, which yours is skinny, if your neck is very skinny and my arms are relatively skinny,
It makes it a lot harder.
makes it very hard. If your neck is thick, my arms are skinny, it's very easy. If my arms are thick, your neck is skinny, it's very easy. However, you might feel like it's mostly pain and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, I know you're going
That
to go
make it
there.
tough
I know
too.
you're going to go there. Of course. But here's the thing. It has to do with the fact that the thicker my arms are, the stronger I am. And generally, right?
Of course.
So that's where the pain will come from, the squeeze too. That doesn't mean that you're not. What happens with the thickness of the arms or the thickness of the neck? So thick on skinny or skinny on thick, and thick on skinny works, right? Skinny on skinny doesn't work. Thick on thick works too.
Interesting.
I need to cover the more surface area I cover around your neck, the better. Same thing with triangles. If you try to get Val, for example, in a rear naked choke, it's very hard.
Harder.
Very
It's
hard.
harder.
In a leg triangle, you know Val, right? So skinny, and she's
Yeah.
flexible. She's like
A leg triangle's gonna be
and
easy.
and those shoulders are so skinny too that
Yeah.
it's very hard to get like a head and arm choke.
100%.
However, with the legs, with
It's
the
gonna be
hamstring,
easy.
easier
Easier.
because the legs. My legs are so much thicker than my arms, and the surface that I cover is a lot.
Is greater.
It's greater.
Yeah.
And yes, it feels like a little bit of a torture initially, but then after a while, when you start seeing stars, you realize that it's not just the torture.
It
it's
was the
just-
triangle choke. And again, thank you for the expert, articulate, intelligent explanation of this. We can always count on you to bring clarity and science and understanding. So I really appreciate that. And I want to add one more element to it. I oversimplify it slightly. So what we have is anytime you compress the vertebral carotid artery, or any artery really, there's baroreceptors that measure pressure, right? So if you increase the pressure enough times in order to avoid the vessel from popping, the blood pressure will drop. So you compress this, and then going up to here, the hose doesn't want to, it could break.
Yeah,
So first it increases the blood pressure, but it's like, it's not enough blood pressure, so let me increase it. But then the baroreceptors don't increase it because there's pressure here.
Yeah.
So then the blood pressure drops.
Blood
to avoid
pressure
injury.
drops, so
and
that's
the
what
drop of blood
causes-
pressure also contributes to the fainting.
But that makes sense.
Okay.
Yes. So it's
When I
not just
first
the. It's not just the.
It's a little bit more complicated.
It's not just the cutoff of oxygen and blood supply blood supply and oxygen.
It's
to
a
the brain.
reduction in
It's-
blood pressure and heart rate to keep the injury from happening.
And that's your cardiovascular system telling your body stop sending blood up because
Yeah.
it's gonna burst.
Yeah, it
right?
could burst. It could aneurysm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
don't want
that's
that.
natural
Protection.
reaction of the
Man,
body.
the
Yeah.
body is
Yeah.
crazy.
It
Body
is
is crazy.
It is crazy. That's to me is like
It's like its own thing.
I mean, it is its own thing. It's an organism.
Yeah, right. It is one thing, literally. I tell whenever I've had conversations with experts in the field, in the medical field, I like to say, let's start by saying, we don't know shit that's going on. We don't know.
There is a
anything,
lot we don't know.
And when we start with that, then we can learn something. If
Yeah.
you start by saying, "I know this," you know this,
Yeah.
we're not going to get anywhere. Let's start by saying, "We don't." Let's learn something.
And that's why you have specialists, you know, in the medical field. You can be a family doctor and know a little bit of everything, but if you go to a family doctor, oftentimes you will see them searching the internet for solutions.
Oh, for sure.
And not necessarily the internet. They have a website that's actually supported by doctors. It's not the internet. It's not like us, right?
Bro,
But
I had an asthma attack really bad when I was doing work in New Orleans after Katrina. And my buddy, I had to wake him up in the middle of the night. I was like, take me to the hospital. I was super scared. Took me to the hospital. They hooked me up to something, whatever. Well, I had to get a prescription for an inhaler, so I had to go to another doctor the next day. Dude, I went in there and I told her, I was like, okay, I've had asthma for ever since I was little. I just need an inhaler. It's albuterol or whatever. She had one of those physician desk reference
yes.
and just asthma. And I was sitting there.
They have
And I was like, oh,
PDR,
is that how
physician
they do
reference. It's
it?
their Bible.
Is that how they
Bible.
That
The
now
Bible.
is on a website that they use. I know
Yeah.
because I've spoken to doctors about
Yeah.
it. That now
This
is a
is like
website. It's not
this is
internet
like-
that they use. Just
Yeah,
the
yeah,
internet. Yeah.
yeah.
The
But
physician
they
does
use a
reference
reference.
Bible.
Right. But
I just
but
had
then you
never,
go.
I never saw anything like. Usually, when I would deal with doctors, they would be like,
Of
okay,
course, yeah.
whatever. But she pulled it out, and I wasn't even offended. I was like,
They know where to turn. They know where to
yeah,
look.
and I.
I'd rather they do that than guess.
Bullshit.
Yeah. And
But
pretty
that's
much-
why you have specialists, like you say. You don't know everything. You know more than the average person knows, of course, because you've studied for that shit. But you don't know everything, so you turn to a specialist for nose, throat, and
Right.
and ears. You turn to a specialist for eyes and all that stuff, right? And you know, every doctor worth their salt will tell you got to go to specialists because they're not going to be able to give you the good. Same as lawyers, by the
Well,
way.
my main doctor is just this dude. But when I had to,
You got him in the yellow pages. Dr. Vinny Bombas.
they
Dr. Vinny Bombas.
They hooked me up with a normal dude, and he was cool. He's still my doctor. But when I had to go do that prostate shit, he sent me to this other dude. And I've seen the other dude more than I've even seen my normal doctor.
He had thinner fingers.
Dude.
On that happy note.
The story
All right,
ended
man.
with this.
Thank you.
Thank you, real pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That was
Ian, thank you
enjoyed.
for
I
inviting
enjoyed
me.
that.
Thank
Nice
you for the
talk, man.
kind
Nice
words
talk.
and compliments.
Thank you for the work done.
I got
I'm
you.
telling
I got
feel
you,
good.
man.
I feel
I got
much
you.
better. My
See if I
neck
can
feels
wake up
good.
tomorrow.
You'll
Wake up
sleep
like,
better. You'll sleep better.
oh my God, I can't.
You'll sleep better.